an easy way. Because I know and I'm aware that changes are very difficult to everyone, and because we are human beings of habits, and we don't like when something new and unexpected enters into our lives. So I wanted to give some tools and some keys to enable people to manage and master those changes, both changes that are created from within, for example, things that you want to change in your life proactively, or changes that happen to you without your control, so that you can cope with them in a positive way.
All right. One of the things I wanted to ask you about is, Leonardo, is what does outside of your comfort zone mean?
The outside of the comfort zone. So every one of us has the things that he does normally in his daily routine, his daily life, and the brain studies these situations and they get used to it. Like, for example, your daily routine, when you go to work, you use a certain path or route to get there, the things that you do in the morning, the things that you do daily, and then when something happens and you need to do something else that you were not used to it, then the brain doesn't know how to deal with it in the beginning, and you start getting nervous and insecure, and the amygdala in the brain starts to fire because you are in a survival mode, because you're expected now to deal with things that you're not used to, and then you enter into a mode of nervousness because now you need to learn a new situation. It takes time, and in the meanwhile, your performance decreases. And you start experiencing all kind of physical emotions and physical activations of the heart, your breathing, and then you cannot perform as good as you wanted. So being out of your comfort zone, meaning doing or being expected to do things that you're not used to, that takes you out from your regular zone in terms of things that you are used to do, to think, to feel, and it requires to adapt. It requires to adapt because otherwise the consequences in terms of your inner being will be not very good. So you can enter in stress, anxiety, and that can continue into trauma, for example, if the change is very, very strong and negative.
Right. We're speaking with Leonardo Daniel, who's written this book, has a great books a year, Mastering Change, a Formula, and How to Turn Circumstances into Personal Growth and Create the Life You Want. And Leonardo, don't worry, because you have a great connection here, so we can hear you. All right, so tell us about, you write a lot of interesting things about habits.
Mm-hmm.
Can you expand on that?
Yeah, we act and we behave. Our behavior is based on habits, because our brain functions better when we need to do the same things that we do every day. And that's the way the brain works in the best performance. When we don't need to invent the wheel every time from scratch. So in that case, when we do the things that we are used to, we do it automatically for using our autopilot. And it frees a lot of resources from our brain in order to do other things. So habit is a very important resource for us.
Right.
For example, when you wake up in the morning, you know exactly what to do, how to put your your legs in the shoes, first the right and then the left. What you do in the morning, first you shave and then you go to take a bath. You do it automatically. So a lot of things enables you to, those things enables you to live your life fast, quickly, and like in a sea of peace. But from the other side, those habits prevent you from coping or dealing with things that are out of this comfort zone. And that's the problem, basically. Because from one side, the habits is like a defense mechanism or something that was created along the years, millions of years in the human being to enable him to survive or to live life peacefully. But from the other side, habits prevent you from coping with new things. So that's why I call it the trap of the habits, or the problem that we have with the habits.
Right. And I think it was interesting you write about, I want to ask you about the process of defining a new destination.
Well, as I put it in my book, every one of us has 3 satellites that guide you through every moment in your life. Like a GPS, we work very similarly like a GPS system that knows exactly in each moment where you are and also how to guide you to your new destination. The 3 satellites are the satellite of the fact, meaning what exactly and objectively do you have in your life that you are experiencing. For example, let's say that you want to change your job, okay?
Right.
So the fact can be, what exactly are you doing now? For example, I'm working in a company, I'm earning this and that, I'm working 8 to 5, it takes me 1 hour to get to work. So those are the facts. But facts are not enough, because 2 people with the same facts can experience their lives in a different way. So we have another 2 satellites that complement this GPS trilateration process that points you into your own location. And the second satellite is the thoughts satellite. What do you think about your facts, about your life? So, for instance, if you say, I'm working now as an engineer and I'm earning $30,000 a year. So you might think, oh, that's great. I don't need more than that, and I'm living okay, and I can manage. Or you can think, oh, that's a very low amount. I'm not able to reach my dreams with that amount of money, and I need to change my job. So that's the thought satellites, what you think about the things that are going on in your life. And then there is the feelings satellite. What do you feel about the things that are going on in your life? Do you feel anxious? Do you feel happy? Do you feel sad? Do you feel eager? So, and this is the main satellite because we attract things in life by the way we feel about our reality. We don't attract things in life about what's really going on or about what we think even, but how we feel about it. So I can say about myself, I'm stupid. But if I say it in a jokey manner, so nothing happens. But if I really feel like this, I will attract circumstances that will enforce or reinforce this feeling about myself. So those 3 satellites define the way or the place or the point where you are in your life. If you want to change what is going on in your life, you need to change those 3 satellites. It's not enough to change only the fact satellite. So it's not enough only to change the place of work, for example. If you want to earn more money, let's say you want to earn more money and you go and you find another workplace and you now earn $100,000 a year. But if you don't change your set of mind, that you will say now, okay, now I'm happy, now it's enough for me, now I can manage my life in a much better way, and you start feeling better, then you didn't change much. So those all three satellites need to change in order to change your reality. So you need to be aware both where you are now, so what are your coordinates at this precise moment, and what will be the coordinates in your point B. And that's some of the problem that people have. Some of us don't know or what is our point A, what really is going on in our lives right now, what are our facts, what do we feel about it, or what do we think. Or some of the people don't know how they want to be or where they want to be tomorrow or one year from now. So by doing this process that is written in the book, we can also be aware of where we are right now, and also how or where we want to be or where we need to be in a few years from now or in a few months from now, and then to devise the plan, the program, in order to get from point A to point B.
All right, so could you talk about Barcelona goes through Vienna? Talk about your own satellite story.
Mm-hmm. Can you repeat the question?
Can you talk about your own satellite story? Barcelona goes through Vienna.
Yeah. Well, at that time, it was the year 2003, something like that, and I was working in a high-tech company in Israel, in Tel Aviv. And in the beginning, everything was okay. I started to work there in the year 2000, and I was very excited from the change, from being to be able to travel and to learn new things. But then, around the year 2003, I started to get depressed. I started to feel that I'm not doing and I'm not living the life I wanted to live. And I started to feel really bad about my life. I started to gaining a lot of weight. It was very difficult for me to wake up in the morning and going to work. I was not motivated at all. And I wanted to change, but I didn't know how to do it. So I decided to seek help, and I started to go to therapy with my cousin, which is a healer. His name is Daniel, and we started this healing process. And along the weeks, I started to get more focus and more like clarity about what I wanted to do and how I want to change my satellite, because the facts were okay. I mean, the facts were that I was working in a good company, I was earning okay, I wasn't rich or something, but I was okay, and I had a good job, but all the other satellites, my thought satellites and my feeling satellites were very bad. So I wanted to make a change. I wanted to feel better. I wanted to think more positive things, and I was not able to even trace the path to a new destination. So that's why I wanted help from an external source. So during this treatment, I started to get some clarity and some realization that I wanted to make a change in where I live. I wanted to move to Europe. And in that time, my idea was to move to Vienna. Why Vienna? Because my grandfather was from Austria, and I have an Austrian passport. And he said, well, I don't know any other country in the world, so the only piece of attachment I have is with Austria by the fact that my grandfather was from there. So I took two weeks of holidays, and I went to Vienna for 2 weeks to see the place, to try to find some connections there, and maybe a job, or maybe to see about the work options there. And I went there, and I didn't like it. I didn't like the place. I didn't like the weather, the environment.
Right.
very nice story about McDonald's that I wrote in my book, if you want to hear that.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. I was in my trip to Vienna, so I was hungry of walking all day and trying to sightseeing the city, and I entered to a McDonald's store. And before I went to Vienna, I studied a few months German in Israel in one of the language schools. So I was a little confident about my ability to communicate in German. So I entered this McDonald's, and I wanted to ask for an hamburger without cheese, because I am Jewish,
right.
So I don't eat meat with cheese. And I said in my perfect German that I learned for 3 months, eine Hamburger mit Käse bitte, which means basically hamburger without cheese. And she's looking at me with this strange looking, and like I spoke in some Chinese or something. Right. So I repeated my request in German, and the response was the same. So I moved to pantomime, to showing with my fingers what I wanted, and then right. She said, eine Hamburger mit Käse, exactly what I said, right. Exactly the same thing I said before. So I understood that it will be very, very difficult to adapt to Austria.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, I went back to Israel.
Let me ask you a question. How was the hamburger there?
Excuse me?
How was the McDonald's hamburger in Vienna?
How much?
No, how was it? Was the hamburger good at McDonald's in Vienna?
If there was what? I can't hear you very well.
No, all right, so we'll move on. All right, so can you talk to us? Also in the book, you write about palm reading.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I do is chirology, which means analyzing the personality of the person through the hand palms. Today I'm studying the university, a master's degree in neuroscience. So I want to connect the two things, the brain and the hand palms, because by analyzing the hand palms, you can know a lot of things about the personality of the person. So I used it in the book, or I demonstrated in the book, how by analyzing the hands you can know if a person is good or is capable of making changes in his life or not, and what are the strong and weak areas in his personality. For example, one of the things that is a must when we want to make changes, or when we want to deal or cope with changes, is the ability to be flexible. And the ability to be flexible is a mind thing, right? So you need to be mind flexible, but if we check the hands and we see the flexibility in the hands, it also reflects the flexibility in our mind.
Right.
So if you try to bend your fingers backwards, so let's say you keep your hand straight and you try with the other hand to bend your fingers. If you manage to bend them, let's say 45 degrees, so you are flexible and you can adapt to external circumstances better than other people that their hands are stiff.
Right.
So those people with stiff hands are more programmed, they are more closed in their own opinions and mindset, and they have more difficulty to accept or to hear others' opinions and to change their own mindset and way of thinking. So one of the things we can do is just to work on this flexibility. If we change the flexibility of our body, of our hands, we will also change the flexibility of our mind. So that's, for example, one of the things that I mentioned in the book. The other thing is, for example, is communication skills. One of the things that are very, very important for our ability to coping with changes is how we communicate with others. if we communicate with others in a good way and we have the ability to create connections with other people, so we will be able to cope with changes because we can ask for help. We have more friends. We have more people that we can reach to when we are in trouble. And that's also something we can see in the hands, this ability to communicate. And much more things. Ability to how much energy do you have in the body? How much energy do you have to cope with difficulties and to stand by your own needs, or to stand behind your own needs? So all those things about the way you think, the way you use your energy, and the way you communicate, we can see it in your hands, which is very useful to know if you are dealing with problems and you want to know why is it that you experience the things you experience in life and how we can change it.
All right, so another thing that I felt very interesting, and maybe you could talk about it, is the good wisers and the bad wisers.
Yeah, the good wisers and the bad wisers. The bad wisers are those people that constantly ask, why something bad happened to me? So, it's a very natural thing when something bad happens to try maybe to blame the destiny, to blame other people, or to feel like a victim of the consequences, and to try to feel pity for yourself. And that attitude doesn't bring us to nowhere or no good place. And the good wisers are those people that, even if they encounter difficult situations and bad times, instead of asking, why did this happen to me, they ask, what can I do now in order to change my circumstances, and what can we learn from this experience for the future? And this is a proactive thinking. This is a positive thinking that enables people to cope with change and to create a change, to use the bad experience in order to create a better reality for themselves, and not to be stuck in their pittiness and their victimhood, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So once again, we're speaking with Leonardo Daniel and his book, his great book, Mastering Change, a Formula on How to Turn Circumstances into Personal Growth and Create the Life You Want. We're talking live in New York on 6:20 a.m. So another question that I had is, how do you identify a positive and negative thinker in the hand palms?
Positive and negative thinker in the hand palms. Well, there are a few marks in the hands that we can identify people that think in a positive way and or in a negative way. I mentioned in the book just a few of them. For example, the headline. The headline is a very important mark, and it is the line that runs from under the index finger in the direction of the little finger, and it tells us what is the way that we deal with information. How is our thinking process or our thought process? And for example, if we take the reality, or if we cope with reality the way it should be, or we put all kind of different information that is not there in order to give another meaning to reality. For example, if the line of head doesn't start in the beginning, so it means that you analyze the information. Well, not in a very effective way, because you put some information that is not there in order to close the gap. And this gap in the headline usually is because bad communication between the child, which is the person that we are seeing this line in his hand, and the communication he had with his father or mother during childhood. And this communication will impact the way we see life and the way we interpret facts in our life. So now, as you know, we are in war in Israel, and I'm dealing and helping people with anxiety. And one of the things I saw from the people I'm helping and treating is that they have some issues with the headline. Not all of them, but a lot of them. That it doesn't start from the beginning of the hand, or it doesn't go from the line of life, and it starts in some point separated from the. So it increases the level of anxiety in the people. And another thing is the quality of the line. If it has a lot of islands or breaks, or the quality of the line is not very good, so also it's a sign that there is a problem in the thought process that can cause also issues related to anxiety, stress, and those kind of things. But of course, that there are other signs in the hand.
All right. Another thing I found fascinating I want to ask you about is, as you talk about in the book, can you talk about the importance of seeing failure as part of the path to success?
Well, failure is something that is inherent to our lives. So there is no success without failure inside, and because simply put, you cannot succeed in something unless, or you cannot reach happiness in life unless you put the bar of your expectation or of your wishes higher than usual. So if you put the bar high, so it's natural that the first and the second time you will fail, like athletes in the Olympic Games. The first time they cannot jump 2 meters, and they will fall, they will fail. So failure is a natural thing, but it's not something that can make you feel a failure. You know, so there is a difference between failing and being a failure. So there are a few ways you can do in order to tackle this failure thing, and one of them is to be prepared for it. So how can we be prepared to fail? So one of the strategies is to manage risk in life in a proactive way. So, for example, if you want to start a new project, so there are a lot of risks in it. So you need to record all the risks that can happen during the project, to be prepared for them, to have a plan, to have a program in order to cope with the possible risk in case they appear, in case they become a reality. So you are prepared. So you are not get by surprise. So they don't come by surprise, because one of the problems in life is uncertainty. So when we are under uncertainty, then we feel stress, we feel under anxiety. But when we are prepared for things, when we train, when we reverse the scenario in our head one time after the other, then the level of uncertainty will decrease. So we need to manage the risk in life. We need to think about what can go wrong, and then to devise a plan in order to be prepared. So, for example, when you travel abroad, you know that For instance, there can be issues with the credit card. So you will issue another one, so just in case. So if you lose your credit card, or if something happens and it doesn't work, so we'll have some kind of reserve. So that's something that we do automatically because we are used to thinking like this. But what I'm trying to teach in the book is that you need to think like that proactively. So every step in your life that you're doing something new, or that something can go wrong, so you need to think about how can we be prepared and plan in advance for the bad things that could happen. Not everything we can identify in advance, because there are what we call in project management unknown unknowns. So those are the things that can happen, but we don't even know that they can happen. But so we cannot prepare for them.
Right.
But we need to be the best to prepare for the things that we can identify that can go wrong. And the other thing is to learn from the past. So to do the lessons learned process. Because if we fail in something, it's because something that we did, or something that happened, wasn't optimal. So if we learn from the past, we can improve the future and to say, okay, so the previous time I did A, B, C, and it led me to the results 1, 2, 3. But it wasn't very optimal. So the next time we'll have to do some other things in order to change also the results. So that's a learning process. And that's we call in project management a lessons learned process, like learning from the past.
All right. And then key number 4 for mastering change, connecting with your feelings and intuition. So my question pertaining to that is the most accurate sensor of our current situation is our emotions. Human feelings, you say, have a double role. Could you be kind enough to talk about that, the double role?
Of the feelings?
Yeah. Emotions, yeah.
The feelings and emotions are the compass of our lives. And they are the machine or the tool that God, if you believe in God, gave us in order to find a way in this world. So feelings, they have two roles. One is to sense if the reality that we are living is good for us. So, for example, when you enter a room and you see other people, you immediately sense this energy. If it makes you feel good, it makes you feel bad. So it's something that you cannot explain. Why I feel good in the presence of someone else, and when there is some other people, I feel bad, and I want to leave the place. So it's something like that you cannot explain, but it's built in, like in your inner radar system. And the other role of your feelings is like an antenna.
Right.
That enables you to create your reality. Because, as I said before, the things in the world or the things in your life, in your experience, are created by the force of magnetism. So the law of attraction. So you attract the things that you feel or based on the way you feel about them. So, for example, if you feel fear, you will attract things that will reinforce the fear that you feel. If you feel excited and happy and you are optimistic, you will attract things that will reinforce this feeling of happiness. So you need to be very aware about how you feel in any moment, and also be aware that the way you feel will represent and present to your reality those same things that will mirror your emotions. So it's a very it's a lot of responsibility in order to be able to change your reality, to be aware of your feelings and emotions and change them, And I also gave some tips in order to do that. Because emotions are the most important satellites in your reality. So you need to be very, very careful with them. And not everyone is aware that when you feel sad, when you feel depressed, when you feel anxious, you're not bringing away those experiences, but you are attracting more of them. And that's what we want to prevent.
Yeah, interesting. So another question is, in order to master change in life, you say you eventually have to be proficient in mastering the whole chain that is responsible for the results you get. Could you please talk about how all the components interact as part of the three satellites that compose your inner GPS system?
Which components?
Can you talk about how all the components interact as part of the three satellites that compose your inner GPS system?
Yeah. So basically, each one of the satellites that is changed has the capability to moving the rest of the satellites. So, for instance, when you are more connected to the way you feel, to your intuition, then you will feel more relaxed and more. You will trust your inner guidance, and then you will have more positive thoughts that your life is more under control, and then you will be able to create better outcomes in your life. Another way could be, for example, if you become more proactive in your life and more flexible, and you start to say more yeses to opportunities instead of no's, then also you will start feeling better, because you will get more positive responses from the outside world that will enable you to create better results and get more let's say, good relationships, and maybe a better place of work, improving your reality. So all the three satellites are connected and interconnected with each other. So it's not that changing one satellite will have to change the others, but usually it does. Usually when you change one reality, and the main satellites are the feeling satellites and the thought satellites, they will for sure, or 99% of accuracy, they will enable you to change all the other ones. So the tools in the book enable people to work on the satellites or on the tools that are lacking in them. So, for example, if you are not very good in creating connections, so there are the tools that will enable you to create connections, and when you create better connections, you will have better thinking or better impression about yourself. So you will feel better, you will think better and more positive things about you, and then you will create the reality you want. So that's by just using the tools on communication. If you have problems dealing with changes and managing risks, so if you implement the tools that we give in the book about dealing with risk, then you will feel more confident in your next project. And by feeling more confident in the next project, you will have a more positive view on your probabilities to succeed. And that's what will bring you the actual success, which is the fact satellite. So everything is interconnected. So you can take some of the tools in the book according to what is lacking or what you need to improve in yourself.
Right. So we've been speaking with Leonardo Daniel, who's the author of this book, which you can see will really help you. And the title, I think, is very accurate. A formula on how to turn circumstances into personal growth and create the life you want, mastering change. So we have about 1.5, 2 minutes left. Where can people buy the book, Leonardo? Where can people buy the book? Where can people buy the book? Where can people get the book?
It sounds like a little white, but it's difficult to...
Oh, I said, where can people buy it?
What people think?
No, where do they get the book? Where do they buy it?
Where they can buy it?
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm sorry because the line is not very clear. So you can order the book in Amazon.
All right, great.
So worldwide, it can be Amazon.com or any other Amazon in the world. So you can order the book from there. You just put the name of the book and my name, Leonardo Daniel, and you can order it just if you order any other thing in Amazon.
That's great. It is a great book. So where are you calling us from in Israel?
Can you repeat that?
Where are you in Israel?
In Israel?
Yeah, where?
Where am I?
Yeah.
I'm in the center of Israel. I'm in a city called Rishon LeZion. It's 15 minutes from Tel Aviv. So from time to time we are having these alarms and sirens of bombings and the missiles that are being shot from or launched from Gaza area. And yeah, that's what we're dealing right now. And I hope that the world will acknowledge and see the reality of what's going on in the area, and we'll be able to recognize who of the two teams are in the group.
We've got to go, but I want to tell you, we're with you 100%. We feel for you, and like I said, we're with you.
Okay, yeah. So thank you very much. We appreciate your...
Yes, thank you for coming on. Appreciate it. We'll get your book. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Bye. All right, so we got to go. We'll see you next week.
Great.
Preceding program is a paid advertisement. The opinions and views expressed therein do not necessarily